All right, hey, what's going on, my friends? This is your boy Turgon the Wise coming at you with a new video today. Today, we're going to talk about Rings of Power, the new Lord of the Rings TV show on Amazon Prime. New episodes every Friday, and the last time we talked, they were through 5 episodes, and now we're through 7. So I'm going to skip all the first 5 episodes and just talk about the last two. And then we're going to go into an update on Server 109 Tactics Evolved. So, without further ado, episode 6 is pretty much all battle. Battle, 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 battle. And there's some reprieves as the Numenorians are on their way, and then they end up at the end coming into the battle as well. We almost see Arnor get killed, but saved. And we learn that Adar is I guess we can consider one of or the first Uruk, as he is an elf that was twisted by maybe Morgoth, maybe Sauron. But he has orc blood. We know that. It's black. Black is orc blood. Red is human blood. Um, I think elf blood is also red, but it may be blue. I'm not sure off the top of my head. That would be a good one for you Tolkien nerds out there. Tolkien, I apologize. Anyway, so that's kind of like a high level, what happened with episode 6. Episode 6 at the end, Waldred takes the hilt, that magic hilt that Theo had, and turns it in the thing at the tower and unleashes a massive amount of water that flows through the tunnel the orcs were crafting for ages, and it finds its way into Mount Doom, causing Mount Doom to erupt for the first time, and I guess really that's what makes it Mount Doom. And now the Southlands are Mordor. And in episode 7, a lot of stuff happens. Queen Muriel loses her eyesight trying to help save people from inside a burning building. Not quite sure how that happened. I'm guessing something hit her in the face while she was on her way out as the building collapsed. Isildur may be dead. It appears as though the building collapsed on the dude. Not sure how he could be dead, considering he's the one that cuts the hand of Sauron to remove the ring of, the one ring from it. So he has to be alive. His horse was going absolutely nuts. Elendil was trying to calm his horse, and the horse is like, "Nah, I'm not going to listen to you." And uh, Isildur's buddy, I forget what his name is off the top of my head. Starts with an A, I believe. I want to say Arondir, but that's the elf guy. Anyway, he's like, nah, that horse isn't going to listen to you, and so they let him free, and he goes running off on its own. And honestly, that scene kind of gave me a feeling inside, like chills in a way. It was just to me, it was very beautiful to see, how they interwove in the story, how loyal and loving the horse is for its rider, and it wants to go searching for its master. And I don't know, I was really touched by that. I thought it was a beautiful touch, a nice piece of writing in there that definitely aligns with the Tolkien lore. Some ways that the Tolkien lore has deviated, though, is that Galadriel should not be there. I don't know what she's doing there, but she's there, and I'm cool with that deviation. It's not like a totally far-fetched deviation, but in the lore, she should be in Eregion with her husband Celeborn. Was thrilled that she finally mentioned her husband Celeborn. Still haven't heard anything about her daughter Celebrion, but at least she dropped that um, she has a husband and his name is Celeborn, and she hasn't seen him in a very long time. Maybe that's foreshadowing his appearance in the next episode. For sure, we will see him at some point, since we know they end up together in Lorien, as we see them there in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Right? So we know that that's coming. And by the way, I meant to disclaim this earlier, but I forgot. If I'm spoiling anything for you, you shouldn't be watching this video right now. So I'm not sorry if I spoil anything for you, because you're submitting yourself to this. So no complaints from people who are like, you spoiled it for me. Just don't watch the damn video. All right? So yeah, that was cool. I liked how Galadriel dropped that. They should be in Eregion together. If they follow the lore at all, then I'm assuming that Galadriel will encounter Celeborn in Eregion on her way to inform Gilgalad of what's happening in the Southlands. I kind of think it would be weird if she just went straight to Lindon and took Halbrand there to get whatever care it is from the elven medicine that he needs. Because it's a long ways. It's not like, he's going to be there tomorrow and get the care he needs. Like, it's going to take a while to go all the way from Mordor to Lindon, even with a really fast horse. So you would expect her to stop off somewhere, and Eregion makes sense because it's kind of in between um, Lindon and Mordor. So maybe she'll stop there, say hi to Celebrimbor, bump into her husband. That would be cool. Maybe not. Maybe she just goes straight there and he drops off Halbrand. And at some point, she should make it to Eregion. If they follow the canon, Sauron is going to show up at Eregion as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. He's going to see Galadriel and recognize that she is an adversary he cannot defeat at this point, head to head, and is going to also determine that Celebrimbor is the weak link here because he is so anxious to live up to the um, grandness of his grandfather Feanor, who was the one who created the Silmarils. And then he'll kind of turn Celebrimbor against Celeborn and Galadriel. They will get kicked out of Eregion, and that's when they make their way through Moria and over into Lorien and establish really Lorien. And then at some point, after that, that's when Celebrimbor forges the rings of power. Now they might rush this whole thing, and Celebrimbor might just somehow come up with a way to do it himself, or they could show him doing it in the season finale because it seemed like he was doing something in the season finale, and he even says, "I figured out a way to do something that's gonna really like be powerful." And then maybe later in the story they reveal that Sauron's been there, but that's a major component of the lore of the Tolkien lore is that Sauron taught Celebrimbor the craft to do the ring craft, to create the 16 rings, the 9 for men and the 7 for the dwarves. Celebrimbor should not be the one to hand these out to the men or dwarves. He keeps them in a vault in Eregion, and then after those rings are made, Sauron heads to Mount Doom to forge the One Ring. While he's on his way there and making the One Ring, Celebrimbor creates the 3 Elven rings and then decides that he wants to hide them away or give them to special people, like Gil-galad, Círdan, and Galadriel. And then once Sauron completes the One Ring, Sauron immediately becomes aware of the 3 Elven rings, which are not corrupted, and so he immediately wants those as they can potentially cause some sort of rival with him. And so he marches an enormous military campaign against the Regian, and the 3 bearers of the Elven rings immediately recognize that Sauron has returned. They become aware of Sauron and the One Ring, and of course somebody has to ping me in the middle of my video. Um, every time, I swear to God, I cannot create one video without being interrupted. I love you guys, but it drives me nuts. Whether it's my dogs or my wife or people pinging me, I can never get a minute of peace to do anything. But I do love you guys. I'm just venting some frustration because this is the 3rd time I've tried to record this video today. Anyway, getting back to the story. Yeah, so once all that happens, Sauron will sack Eregion, kill Celebrimbor, get the 16 rings. Sauron will be the one that distributes the rings to the dwarves and men, um, and the rest of the story unfolds. But that's what should happen. Who knows what will happen, because these writers, while they are following the lore to a certain extent, are also deviating to a certain extent. So I'm interested in seeing what they do with the story. I love the show. I highly encourage everyone to watch it, even if you're not a Tolkien enthusiast. It's just a good show. And I also think that they made Sauron a chick, because it's definitely, there was some scenes where the chick has this just super evil look on her face, um, and they just do stuff that's like super not human or elfish. Like they move super fast, and she grabbed the flame from Nori's father's torch and then used it to completely annihilate all their carts, just bursting with flames. Super sinister, super evil, super powerful. Gotta be Sauron. Sauron's a chick. People are probably gonna be pissed about this. But I think it's cool. I mean, in Tolkien's work, he always referred to Sauron as him. However, he also said that Sauron took on many forms. I mean, in the First Age, he at times was a werewolf. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that you could say Sauron's fair form is of a woman. Um, but we'll see. I mean, at this point, if that character is anyone but Sauron, it'll be really interesting to see what they concocted, who that character is. Because in my mind, it's got to be Sauron. Only Maiar should be able to use flame in that manner. So clearly, it's a Maiar, and the only evil Maiar I'm aware of that's not a Balrog is Sauron. So if it's not Sauron, it has to be a completely new made-up character. That's all I'm saying. And also, I want to talk about Halbrand because everyone's like, is he Sauron? Who's this guy? My wife and I totally agree that Halbrand probably is going to be the dude that ends up being the king of the dead that Aragorn meets in the mountain. Had anyone even thought about that? Because he becomes the king of the Southlands, and at some point, he's probably going to be asked by Isildur to fight and refuse, and that's when Isildur curses him. And that would make sense in the storyline, would it not? Just saying, just some things to think about. Now, at any rate, let's get into our season, like where we're at, our update with our server. Just to bring this to your, oh, the number went down. It was like 25 million deaths, not too long ago. I have screenshots of it on my phone. Maybe I'll use that. As a title screen for this because just absolutely the largest marker I've ever seen in 6 seasons in this game. It was like 25.5 million deaths an hour ago. But like I said, I've had to re-record this 3 times. So um, apologies for the delay, but and congratulations to everyone that was involved in this battle. To the winners, Erebor and Arnor, congratulations. You earned it because having fought Variag 1v1 in Gondor, we know how tough they can be 1v1. But in terms of this 2v2 with Variag and Gundabad versus Erebor and Arnor, um, they were able to overcome. So congratulations to you guys. Meanwhile, we continue to continuously get peppered down here by the Paths of the Dead, by Rohan, and we're not happy about it, to be honest. There's my gathering report. Sweet. I love food. Um, so Rohan, we had a peace agreement with Rohan. We had friendly PvP zones with Rohan established and their unified faction partner, Lothlorien, and they kept coming down here. And Variag came up here and took all of this stuff from us, and then Rohan decided to come and take advantage of that and just go for some of our caves of the dead. And no one, as far as I'm aware, ever gave them permission to have uh, caves of the dead. So um, they got mad because we're not letting them have Caves of the Dead. We're getting mad because they're coming into what we have considered to be our territory, even though it's technically neutral territory. This is ours, and we're not going to let them have it. And they keep coming at it, which is violating our peace agreement technically. For a while, Rohan leaders were not involved, but now they're also been attacking us intermittently throughout the day. They've been attacking us all day. As you can see, there are red lines coming from our side of the tunnel. We haven't been attacking them as so much recently, but it seems as though we're starting to pepper them a little bit. Um, and we're just really, really sick of them because Rohan, quite honestly, has been um, the reason why this season has ended up the way that it is. We don't think anybody really likes Rohan, and we're kind of surprised that Lothlorien ended up um, agreeing to be their unified faction partner in the first place because everything that we've seen from Rohan has been just complete bullshit. I mean, they probably napped. I'm almost certain they had napped Variag before we ever even fought Variag. Because if Rohan had came and helped Gondor fight Variag, then we would have probably been able to repel them, keep our capital, and this entire season would have played out differently. But instead, they decided to be cowards and nap the enemy because on paper, the season was supposed to play out as Lyndon and Gondor as unified partners versus with Lothlorien and Rohan as unified partners. So those four teams on one side versus Gundabad, Variag, and Erebor Arnor on the other side. But in reality, what happened was through Rohan napping with Variag, it was really 2.5 versus 4 because Rohan was never going to fight anyone other than Erebor and Gundabad, and when they did fight them, they lost every single time. So their choice of opponents was dumb. Their choice of alliances was dumb, and their ability to fight was bad. And so we ended up fighting one-on-one versus Variag and losing due to some issues with activity and coordination across our team, and that was what it was. And there are things we maybe could have done better, and there were things that maybe were outside of our control. It was a good fight, and Variag beat us. And so then we ended up going up to the north and fighting up there for a little bit against Arnor. And again, I think that our players, by and large, we had more stronger players than Arnor had. But again, we are only one fellowship in this faction, and Arnor had two. So they were able to just cycle their wars between their two fellowships so that we were constant. We just never had a reprieve, and they were able to kick us out of there. So it's been a tough season for us in Gondor. We're not a bad team. Despite our activity woes, we have a good core group of players. If you look across the top 100 in contribution between Lindon and Gondor, 43 of those top 100 are Gondor. So that's not a super skewed distribution, in my opinion. I'm proud of what we have been able to do, all in all, and the respect that we've earned across the server. We honored our deals and kept the peace, but we continuously faced harassment. And at some point, you just say enough is enough. And so we've fought up here several times versus Rohan, and we will again for sure. And I'm looking forward to it. So that is the state of the affairs on server 109. Dol Guldur should be taken by Erebor and Arnor very soon. We should be getting a season end countdown very soon. And hopefully we'll be getting our capital, Minas Tirith, back within the next few days. And hopefully also Lindon will also receive their capital. And at this point, there's no plans to do anything versus Rohan or Lothlorien's capital. However, if Rohan decides to continue irritating anyone, really, I think it stands to reason that they should get their teeth kicked in because they've been very, very rude and disrespectful from various DMs that I have seen from people on my team that have engaged them in conversation 1v1. We've tried to tell them please stop. They won't listen. They want they want those caves of the dead, and they're gonna go to war over it. And it's just like we're like, well, who are you gonna fight with them? Us? You think we're gonna let you go and get something so you can fight us more effectively? It's just like the logic is completely nonsensical, and kind of, you just have to laugh. And that's what it's been like to deal with Rohan all season. They don't make any sense. They make boneheaded decisions and they don't fight well. They contributed nothing in our 4v4 war earlier in the season, or very, very little at any rate. And we're fighting them now, and we're only one fellowship. Really, probably at this point, no more than 60 players are probably active on any kind of a consistent basis um, in our faction. But you never know. I mean, there's other intermittent players that come on and can help out. But they have two fellowships, probably 70 to 80 people per fellowship, maybe more. And so they outnumber us, but the one fellowship they have, I gotta say, I'm not impressed. I've seen Aoins with R5s maxed, which means you get stun immunity on your horses, wearing helmets that give stun immunity. And it's just like, these are the kind of things that make you go, yep, they're bad. So looking forward to the fight. It gives us something to do, uh, which we haven't had anything to do for a while. and that makes us happy. And maybe we'll get a little bit more activity and some morale here. Give us something fun to do here before the season winds down, and we can go into Bag End and start preparing for our seventh season here of Lord of the Rings: Rise to War. I thank everyone who has hung in there and listened to however long this video is. Thank you for your time and patience. I hope that you found this to be interesting and insightful. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to leave them below or reach out to me on Discord or in the game. As always, take care and stay well, my friends. Cheers.